guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So I was going through my YouTube comments the other day and I saw that Joanna left this comment on one of my videos asking me to do a video on my favorite eyeshadow palettes, and it has definitely been a while since I filmed one of these videos. I remember doing one years ago, but I don't think I've ever done an updated one. So I definitely wanted to go ahead and film it for you guys. I love eyeshadow palettes, but I've been decluttering and downsizing my collection a lot over the past year. I just feel like I kind of reach for the same ones over and over, and I know what I like in a palette. Even though I think I'm going to wear like a super bright colored palette, chances are I probably won't. So I've kind of discovered what I love. I haven't really been purchasing as many palettes lately because I do have a good like set collection of palettes that I love to use, so I thought I would go ahead and share them with you guys. I also wanted to do a little giveaway to kind of kick off the holiday season, so I do have one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes for one of you guys. It's just a fun way for me to be able to say thank you and give back a little bit. I try to do giveaways here and there on Snapchat and YouTube, but I don't get to do as many as I would like, so I thought, why not just start throwing them in random videos? And since we are talking about my favorite eyeshadow palettes today, I thought I would give away like my ultimate favorite. So spoiler alert to the rest of the video, but my favorite palette is the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette, and really I love all of the Too Faced chocolate bar palettes. It's hard to pick a favorite, but I kind of figured that if people were less likely to have one, it might be this one because it is the newest one, and it has a little bit, like, the colors are a little bit different than the first two. So anyways, I'll talk about that in a second, but I wanted to give this away to one of you, and also the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara because I feel like they kind of just go together. So it's really simple. I will have all of the rules in the description box below if you guys do want to enter for a chance to win these, but it's just a fun way for me to say thank you, and stay tuned for other giveaways throughout the holiday season. I'll just insert them randomly into videos, so stay tuned for those. So I guess I will kick it off with my Too Faced chocolate bar palettes, since I was just talking about those, but I absolutely love these palettes. If you are a neutral palette lover, you are going to love these. I think the majority of my palettes are neutral eyeshadow palettes because that is what I normally reach for, but I love these for so many reasons. First of all, the packaging is just really fun. They look like a chocolate bar. They are in this really nice tin case that has a magnetic closure, and it does have a mirror. The mirror isn't the best, so when I travel I usually reach for another mirror, but it is just nice to have when you're traveling. I like these because they do come with so many different shadow options inside one palette. So you get a mix of matte and shimmery shadows, some glittery shadows, but they tend to focus around a neutral theme. And then in each of the palettes there's like a fun pop or two of color. It's hard for me to choose a favorite. A lot of people always ask me which one I would choose, and it really just depends on what type of colors you would reach for. So I would recommend checking them out and then choosing whatever colors you're drawn to, because they are similar when you just glance at them, but when you look at them a little bit more in depth, they definitely have their own uniqueness to them. I really like the Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette because it has so many brown shades, and I'm definitely a brown eyeshadow lover, so they have transition shades, crease shades, lid shades, any type of brown shadow that you'll need is inside this palette, so I love this one. The Chocolate Bonbons palette is really fun because it is a neutral eyeshadow palette, but I feel like the colors are so different than the first two. I mean, when you first glance at them, they do look similar, but I feel like this one has a lot of unique shades that look so beautiful on the lid, and honestly, I wasn't sure that I needed this one at first until I saw somebody do a swatch video where they applied them to their eyes. I think it was That Girl Shay XO, and when I saw them on her eyes, I knew that I had to have it. So this palette is so beautiful on the eyes. There are so many gorgeous shadows, and I just love how they work together. The Too Faced chocolate bar shadows are really good quality. I like them because they're not overly pigmented. A lot of shadows are just so pigmented, so you barely touch your brush in and you get so much color payoff, which can be really nice, but at the same time you don't always want that. These have good color payoff. They're not the most pigmented, but you do get enough pigmentation where the color will show up really well on your eyes. Another one of my favorite palettes is the Buxom DOLLY'S Wild Side palette. I discovered this one back in the spring, and I've used it so much this year, and I think it's just one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes. It comes with 6 different shadows. 2 of them are matte and 4 of them are shimmer shades, and I love this palette because I feel like the colors in this palette just go together so beautifully, and you can create so many different eye looks with these 6 colors, and they just kind of all blend together so beautifully. It can be hard to mix colors. I have a really hard time with it, so a lot of times I'll wear like a brown in the crease and a gold on the eyes and different variations of that because I know they go together, but when it comes to incorporating like rosy tones or pinks or purples, sometimes it's hard to get that perfect combination. I love this palette because I feel like no matter what what combination you go with, it looks really beautiful when it's applied to the eye. I find that the matte shadows are a little bit softer and a little more powdery than the shimmery shades, but I feel like I like them all equally. I do like to wet my brush when I apply the shimmery shadows because it gives them almost like a foiled effect, but you can totally use them dry as well. Another reason why I like this palette is because it is customizable if you do want to customize it. All of the Buxom palettes are like this, so you don't even have to purchase this one. You can purchase an empty palette and create your own. But the shadows slide out and then you can actually pop them out and pop a new shadow right inside, which is really nice if you do want to customize it, or if you run out of one shade, you don't have to repurchase the entire palette. But I really think this is a great option. I've honestly just fallen in love with it this year and I can't get enough of it. So I'm a fan of the LORAC Pro shadows in general. They have a few different palettes. I have the LORAC Pro Matte, which comes with 8 different matte eyeshadows. I've been trying to use this one up this year, so I'm getting close. I don't know if I'll actually be able to finish it before December, but this is a great option if you are a fan of all matte shadows because it does come with some good neutral options. They also have the LORAC Pro To Go, which I do have that one as well. It comes with 6 shades, 2 blushes, and a bronzer, which is a great option. But anyways, the point of me saying this is that all LORAC Pro shadows are just such good quality. I honestly haven't come across a LORAC Pro palette that just differs from the other ones. The formula is really consistent and the shadows are amazing. So I'm a fan of any of the LORAC Pro palettes. Really, if you see one that appeals to you because of the colors, I would grab it, I would recommend it. But I have to say that the LORAC Mega Pro palettes are such good quality and they're such a good value. So these come out every year around the holidays, at least they have for the past 3 years. I didn't get the second one. This one was the first one, just to give you a quick idea of what it looked like, and I do really like it, but the one they released this year is definitely my favorite. The shadows in this palette are just so beautiful. I think that this would appeal to so many people because I feel like everybody loves like a good gold or a good champagne or even like a nice brown, and this has so many neutral shadows in it. It has a few pops of color like the pomegranate or really that's it. I mean, it has some like deep purples and things like that, but this one is my favorite. It is the newest release. It should still be available at Ulta. But I would say if you can get your hands on this palette, grab it if the colors do appeal to you. But even if not, keep your eyes open, you know, every holiday season as long as they are going to keep releasing these because it's such a good value. You get 2 rows of matte shadows, 2 rows of shimmery shadows, and the quality is just there. I really don't have matte shadows that are as blendable as LORAC Pro shadows, and the shimmery shades are so pigmented. You don't have to work to build up that pigmentation. You just dip your brush in, sweep it all over the lid, and you'll get the same color payoff as you see in the pan. So I don't know if this palette counts because it's technically comprised of single eyeshadows, but it is in an eyeshadow palette, so I have to include it because I honestly use it every single day, and that is my Coastal Scents eyeshadow palette. I did just do a whole video on this, so I will link it in the description box below if you guys want to see swatches and a breakdown of all of the colors that I have in my palette. And I just ordered a bunch more, so I'll probably have a second palette and I'll do a video if you guys want to see it. So one of the reasons why I love this so much is because it is affordable. The shadows retail for $1.95 and sometimes they run sales and they sell them for 99 cents. So really, even if you did buy it at its most expensive, including the palette, this entire palette would only be $25, which is half the price of most of the palettes available at Sephora. But if you get it on sale, you can get it for as little as like $15. So definitely check their website for sales, and I think they have like a $5 off coupon for new customers, so I'll link it in the description box below. But I love this because you can create your own custom palette. If you are not a fan of like purples or pops of color, then you don't have to include those. If you're not a fan of cool tones, you can create a completely warm tone palette. There's just so many options, and they have a ton of shadows on the website. I mean, the best part is that the shadows are such good quality, and I think a lot of times you think you get what you pay for, and that's totally true of a lot of things in life, and sometimes even about makeup, but I think that these are like a hidden gem. They're so affordable, so pigmented, so blendable, but they're not overly powdery, overly chalky, overly soft. And the last palettes that I want to talk about are the Urban Decay Naked palettes. I know that this is like such a typical answer, but I love these palettes, and no matter how many times I declutter my collection, I can never part with these because I just feel like they're staple palettes in my collection. And to be honest with you guys, I haven't really worn them for a while because I definitely have other palettes that I like a little bit better, but these are just like a good classic staple. table. Now, I do have to say, the price of these palettes keeps going up, and I don't think they're the best neutral eyeshadow palettes on the market anymore. I feel like when Urban Decay first released these, it was a little bit innovative in a way because there weren't so many neutral eyeshadow palettes on the market, but I do feel like there are a lot of other brands that have as good as, or if not better quality shadows than Urban Decay now. But that's not to say these don't still have a place in my heart. I think if you are a beginner or you're looking for just a good neutral eyeshadow palette, these might be a great option for you. I think that a lot of people like to start with these, and I feel like they are a good starting point because Urban Decay shadows are good quality, especially their naked palettes. I feel like their naked palettes just have blendable pigmented shadows that you can't go wrong with. Again, it's really hard to choose a favorite because I do like them all for different reasons. I like the original Naked palette because it does have so many brown eyeshadows in it, and I am definitely a brown eyeshadow lover, so I'll usually use like Naked all the way through Hustle, and then I'll use these two as highlights. I don't reach for the darker shades as much, but there's a lot of shades in here that I would wear on an everyday basis, especially when I was first getting into makeup. I think the Naked 2 might have been my most used palette because when I look at the shadows, there's a good dent in a lot of them, and I feel like I used so many of these over and over. Again, it's just full of like really beautiful brown shadows. This one leans a little bit more cool toned, so if you are a cool toned eyeshadow fan, this is definitely going to be the one for you. And then the Naked 3 palette is probably just the most beautiful palette in my opinion. It has so many gorgeous shadows, but I feel like the quality isn't necessarily as high as the other two. There are a few dud shadows in here. I want to say, I can't remember off the top of my head, maybe Buzz and maybe Trick. Those two weren't as great as I remember, but I do like the darker shades in this palette. So if you're looking for more of like a smoky look, these shades are so beautiful. But I would say the Naked palettes might be a good addition to your collection. Honestly, they're not my absolute favorite anymore. They were at one time, but I've kind of discovered other palettes that I like a little bit better. That being said, I do still enjoy them. I think they are worth the money. I think the shadows are nice and they're beautiful colors, and they would be a good addition to your collection as well. So don't forget to let me know in the comments below what your favorite palettes are. I really do want to hear from you guys because I've been thinking about treating myself to one palette. I really haven't purchased a palette in a while, and I might keep it that way, but if I am in the mood to treat myself to a new palette, I want to know your favorites because you guys do always give really good recommendations. If you try any of these palettes, let me know what you think, and let me know in the comments below what you guys are up to this holiday season because I would love to hear about your plans. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, if you want to enter my giveaway, I will have all of the information in the description box below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.